Most men will never realize when a woman is quietly terrified of losing them, not because the signs are hidden, but because no one ever taught them what those signs actually look like. She is not going to say it out loud. She is not going to sit you down and confess her fear. What she is going to do is behave in 5 very specific ways. Ways that most men either misread completely or brush off without a second thought. Stay with me, because the last one changes everything. Here is what I want you to understand first. If you have ever been in a relationship and felt like something shifted, like she suddenly got more attentive or more anxious or more present, and you could not quite name what was happening, that confusion is not your fault. Nobody handed you a guide to this. School did not cover it. The men around you probably did not talk about it either. So you moved through those moments without the language to understand them. Think about what that actually costs a man. He is in a moment that matters. She is showing him something real, something vulnerable. And he either misreads it as neediness, or he overlooks it entirely, or he pulls back at the exact moment he should have leaned in. Not because he does not care, but because nobody ever showed him what he was looking at. The fact that you are here, asking these questions, already puts you ahead of most men. You are not here to manipulate anyone. You are here to understand. And that distinction matters more than you know. Welcome back to Attraction Decoded, where we explore the psychology of attraction and connection through the lens of real human behavior. As someone who studies attraction psychology and female behavior closely, I am going to walk you through something most people never talk about openly, and something most men have experienced without ever recognizing it. Here is what is really happening beneath the surface. When a woman becomes genuinely afraid of losing someone, her brain triggers what psychologists call an attachment alarm. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone your brain releases during moments of closeness and trust, begins behaving differently. Instead of flowing freely during calm moments, it spikes during moments of perceived threat to the connection. Her nervous system reads potential loss the way it would read any form of danger. It activates. It responds. This is where men and women often diverge. A man facing uncertainty in a relationship tends to withdraw, to create space and think. A woman facing that same uncertainty tends to move toward, to close the distance, to check, to reconnect. Not because she is irrational, but because her biology is protecting the bond she values. Once you understand that, everything she does during those moments starts making a completely different kind of sense. Here is exactly how it breaks down. The first sign is that she starts reaching out more. Small, almost casual contacts that carry more weight than they appear. A random text in the middle of the day. A voice message just to say she heard a song and thought of you. A question she did not really need the answer to. On the surface, these feel light. But here is what is really happening. She is checking that the thread between you is still intact. Her nervous system needs confirmation that you are still there. Picture this. She sends you a meme at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. Nothing serious, just something she found funny. You glance at it, maybe respond, maybe do not think much of it, but she sent that message the moment she felt a quiet flicker of distance between you. That meme was not really about the meme. It was a hand reaching across the space to make sure you would reach back. When a man sees it and reaches back warmly, she exhales. When he does not, that flicker of worry quietly grows. Now the second one, and this is where most men start misreading the signal entirely. She becomes more physically present. She finds reasons to be near you. She leans in a little closer during conversation. She touches your arm when she did not before. She sits on your side of the room. What most men interpret as clinginess is actually something far more specific. Physical proximity is one of the oldest signals of attachment anxiety. When her emotional safety feels uncertain, her body instinctively tries to close the physical gap. It is not performance, it is biology. But here is where it gets interesting. The man who misreads this pulls back. He needs space, so he assumes she must need space too. And in that moment, she reads his retreat as confirmation of what she feared. The man who sees it clearly does not have to do anything dramatic. He simply stays present. A hand on the back, a moment of real eye contact. That small act of staying tells her nervous system everything it needed to hear. The third sign is that she becomes noticeably more attentive to your needs, sometimes to an almost surprising degree. She remembers something small you mentioned weeks ago and acts on it. She asks how a conversation went, one you had casually referenced. She makes your coffee the way you like it without being asked. This hyper-attentiveness is not performance. It is an instinctive move to reinforce her value to you. Her mind, on some level, is working to remind you, quietly, through action, why you would want to stay. Pause here for a second, because if you have been missing these signals, the next ones explain exactly why. Now, this is where I want to introduce you to someone. His name is Richard. He was 51, a former high school teacher, the kind of man who dressed simply and listened more than he spoke. He had been seeing a woman for about 8 months when she started doing something he could not quite name. She started showing up to things early. She would already be there when he arrived, coffee in hand, settled in, present. She texted more. She cooked for him on a random Wednesday with no occasion attached. Richard, being a thoughtful man, noticed all of it, but he read it as her being comfortable. He felt good about it. He did not realize she was quietly afraid he was pulling away, because a few weeks earlier, he had been quieter than usual during a difficult month at work. She had felt the shift and responded to it with everything she had. He never knew. She never said. And that quiet moment of her reaching toward him passed without him ever truly seeing it. The fourth sign is something subtler, and it tends to catch men off guard. She starts seeking your opinion more, not because she suddenly lacks confidence, but because drawing you into her decisions is a way of weaving you into her life, of making you feel necessary, included, anchored to her world. What do you think about this? Is sometimes just a question. But when it comes from a woman who is afraid of losing you, it is an invitation. She is pulling you closer through inclusion. Most men stop here, do not. The fifth sign, and pay close attention here, is that her emotional sensitivity sharpens. Small things land differently. A comment that would have rolled off her before might now sit with her longer. A slight change in your tone might prompt a quiet question. Are you okay? Is everything all right with us? She is not being dramatic. Her emotional radar is simply running at a higher frequency because the stakes feel higher to her. She is scanning for information because uncertainty is harder to sit with than the truth. And now the final one, the one most men never reach and the one that changes everything. When a woman is genuinely afraid of losing you, she will at some point drop her guard completely and show you something real. A moment of vulnerability she would not normally allow. Maybe she tells you something she has been holding back. Maybe she admits that she has been feeling a little unsure lately. Maybe she simply looks at you in a way that is softer than usual and says less than she means. That moment is not weakness. It is the deepest signal of all. She is handing you something fragile and trusting you not to drop it. If you miss that moment, if you brush it off or fail to meet it with the presence it deserves, the window closes quietly. She does not make a scene. She simply starts protecting herself again. And the version of her that was willing to be fully open begins to recede. I want you to sit with something for a moment, because this is not just about reading signals. This is about something deeper than that. Many men carry quiet confusion for years, not because they were not trying, but because nobody ever handed them this map. They showed up, they were present, they cared, and still, somehow, things slipped away, and they could not explain why. There is a particular kind of loneliness in that, in doing your best and still feeling like you missed something you were never taught to see. You have been navigating something genuinely complex without the right tools. That is not a personal failure. It is a gap in what most men are ever taught about how women experience connection and fear and love. And I want you to extend yourself a little grace around that. The confusion was not a character flaw. It was simply the absence of understanding. Awareness changes things, not because it makes you more calculated, but because it makes you more present. You stop reacting to the surface and start recognizing what is underneath. And when a man can see clearly, he responds differently, not perfectly, just honestly. Awareness does not just change what you see, it changes who you become. So here is what you now carry with you. When a woman is afraid of losing you, she reaches out more frequently in small, casual ways. She moves physically closer. She becomes hyper-attentive to your needs and preferences. She draws you into her decisions as a way of anchoring you to her world. Her emotional sensitivity sharpens, and in her most unguarded moments, she shows you something real, something she does not show everyone. This is not about tricks or games. This is about understanding, not control. Real connection is not manufactured. It is recognized. The man who understands these signals does not chase. He simply shows up aware and present and meets her where she actually is, not where he assumed she was. You now see what most men completely miss. If this gave you a new way of seeing, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss what comes next here. Drop the word present in the comments if this opened something up for you. It helps more than you know. And before you walk into your next interaction without watching my next video, I want you to know that it covers the subtle things women notice about a man in the first few minutes that quietly determine everything that follows. You would be leaving half the understanding on the table. She is already telling you. Now you know how to listen.